every Fridays, 12 noon to 1 p.m., spotlighting all our local community people here in town, Stockton, California. We're here at the station, KXVS.org, live stream. We have other spotlight shows. We have Mondays with Joaquin. We have Wednesdays with Jocelyn Conde, with the other spotlight series that we have here. And I'm very lucky and fortunate to produce a lot of these shows. Right now, currently, you're listening to Yellow Dot Music. And we're always out there, always with our community out there with our station. And so as we are out there with member-supported membership here at community radio stations, you can always use your support here at the KXVS.org. And the Yellow Dot Spotlight Show definitely appreciates your support in any of that matter, whether you support watching us or just tell a friend. We definitely have live music and live guests, artists of all kinds. So if you know any friends that want to be on, gosh, I would definitely love to have that. So here we are, Friday, with the Yellow Dot Spotlight Show. Today's guest, we have John Lechner. Lechner, I know. Gosh, everybody knows they need to correct me. So let me turn on these mics here. All right, John, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you, David?
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Let's see. Might want to maybe see if we can put the headset on there real quick so we can hear each other. And then let me turn on the white mic. And it's okay to get a little bit closer to the mic so I can go ahead and get your audio going.
All right.
Nice, nice. Okay, we got some good levels there, people. All right, welcome to the Yellow Dot Spotlight Show. And we'll be talking about the world travels of John that he did. And me personally, when I met him over at some of the jam houses that we jam at, and he takes pictures, gosh, I noticed his camera work right away. I mean, this guy just wasn't off the streets, you know what I'm saying? He's got some experience, and that's what we're here today for, to check out all these moments that are, you know, when you capture a film, I mean, when you capture with a camera, that's a moment still for life, and so many expressions in a picture. So we'll be talking today about his world travels into different villages that he's gone to, and all his excitements of the world traveling. And then definitely Earthwatch is what he's part of, and we'll be talking about that, and just the cameras in general of photography. And so I'm going to come over here to this other microphone, and then here we go. We'll get started. So, all right. Wow. Instant TV. Hey, how you doing, folks? All right.
I can hear you.
You can hear me? Okay, sounds good. I guess maybe putting headphones on just makes you look a little more radio. I don't know. So,
No.
Good. See, I like John because he's just like, I'm going to make my own way, and I dig that. So, John.
So, David, what do you want to talk about?
All right. So, first, the last time we were hanging out, we were talking about you just went to Africa recently. That's as far as I know, that your latest trip. And we were talking about elephants, how amazing they are up close. And so some of the pictures that you can see on Facebook on your site, you can see a lot of the different animals that you've taken. And so my first question is, when you take photography of animals, what's some of the maybe the process of doing that?
I try to look for the same thing in animals that I look for in people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to get a nice portrait of the animal. I'm trying to find an expression, and I'm trying to find truth. When you photograph people, for me, when I do the portraits and so on, I'm trying to find something true about them.
Yeah.
So I don't want the people really to know that I'm taking their picture, because when you aim a camera at people right away, you get camera face. So I'm trying to get the candid shots of people that reveals something about them, something about their nature, you know, when they're caught unaware. So when I'm photographing animals, I try to look for the same thing. You don't get as close. It's a little hard to get, 10 feet away from an elephant.
Yeah.
Although I have been pretty close to some elephants.
So it's kind of almost like a challenge. It's almost like, how close can I get to get that nice camera shot? Even though you got those lenses that help out, but still,
yeah.
The adventure of getting that close, I can only imagine by going to zoos. But then you're out there in the real wildlife of the countries that you've traveled. So blending in of your of what you're doing with camera work and traveling. So what are the places that you would take camera shots that you have been? Some of the places that you've been.
I started in 1989 with Earthwatch.
Uh-huh.
And what I do is I say it's travel and do good. So most all of the traveling I've done has been joining some kind of a project, either with Earthwatch or with another organization that comes out of Israel called Go Echo.
Okay.
So I've done 31 projects with Earthwatch. I'm about to do the 32nd.
Can I go?
And
Can I go?
you go? Sure. I'm going to we're going to South Africa.
Oh, amazing. Oh, that's
And
awesome.
we're going to go on a Robben Island where Mandela was held prisoner, and we're going to look at penguins.
Wow. No, the penguins is cool. That's even part of some history talking about Mandela. I mean, that's everybody knows about that just
Yep.
about. And
Not everybody.
not everybody, but maybe more people should, you know. But the penguins, so that kind of just struck me right now. Most people might think penguins come from the North Pole or South Pole, whatever the correct region, but
Penguins come from the southern hemisphere.
the Southern Hemisphere,
So
okay.
there are penguins in Australia, there's penguins in New Zealand, there's penguins in Chile, Argentina, all the way up to the Falkland Islands. Then there are penguins in South Africa.
Wow. Not take their picture. Do you kind of waddle with them? Kind of. That's what I might do. I might put on a little bow tie and just be kind of try to mingle with them.
Well, there's a penguin colony, and there's some research being done because the penguin colony is kind of collapsing. The population is down, so they need to find out why.
Oh, interesting.
And when I'm there in June, which is South Africa's winter, there'll be lots of chicks because they will have hatched by then. So I guess we'll do some tagging and banding and weighing.
Wow, you know, just amazing of the world community that you're involved in. I mean, it just hit me right now that you're getting ready to help a whole nother generation of living species, like, hopefully carry on.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's primarily what I say. I travel and do good. So with Earthwatch, I've done 31 projects.
31.
I've done 4 projects in Africa with another organization.
And what was that one? You said it, you mentioned it earlier. The Echo? What was it?
Go Echo.
Go Echo.
Echo is
Okay.
out of Israel, and they're kind of like a warehouse. They get projects from all of these different NGOs all over the world, and they put people into them. So I started doing some projects with them in Africa. The first one I did, I was walking with lions in Zimbabwe,
Oh, man.
which
That's
was pretty
not,
incredible.
right, that's not an everyday thing, you know.
No,
No.
but
It's the perks of traveling, of what you're doing, of the good stuff,
Yeah.
you know. Do you ever, like, feel their energy? I'm
yeah.
pretty sure. I mean, it's amazing. You know, probably out there in the quiet, in their world. You know, it's their energy that you're kind of focusing into, I would imagine.
well, we were on a private reserve in Zimbabwe, and we went across. We had to cross the river through Lock Gate over to the lion area, and the lions. There were 3 lions in an enclosure, and they opened the door, and the lions ran out, and one of them ran over and flopped down at my feet. And I thought, okay, this is cool.
Right. Well, that probably scared me just a little bit, but I don't know. That's since it's always like more of a playful thing, I would imagine. I mean, kind of.
She was habituated. She liked people. She walked right with us, and you could call her. You know, you'd yell, "Kitty, kitty, kitty," and she'd come running. So,
Oh, that really bunks a lot of myths that they just want to eat you all the time, I suppose. I don't know.
you know, well, I mean, you know,
Right, no,
if you're out in the wild and you're
Oh,
wandering
definitely.
around.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, I did another project. We were doing a project in Kenya with rhinos, with black rhinos, which are highly endangered. And we were out with the rangers, the guys who monitor the rhinos, and we had to go every day and physically see all 7 of the rhinos on the reserve. So we were always walking with a guide who always had a gun. And he said, the most dangerous animal that you're likely to come across would be a Cape buffalo. Lions would probably run away from you, because lions have this kind of genetic memory of people, and that, you know, there has not been a good association.
Yeah.
We've killed far more lions than lions have killed us.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, with the.
So, I mean, you know, lions are endangered in Africa. Their population is falling. And what I'm finding when I do these projects is that everywhere I go in the world, the population of all these animals is falling. I mean, we are threatening pretty much every species on the planet.
Yeah, that's not good. So from that standpoint, do you think it's maybe technology involved, or humans not caring as less as we evolve more, and we're kind of forgetting? We're part of Earth too. You know,
We're like a cancer.
We're like, okay, yep, I can
I
see
mean,
that.
the cancer is cells gone wild. I mean, and they reproduce so fast that they overtake the whole body.
Right.
So animals, I mean, the biggest problem is loss of habitat. We're just pushing and pushing and pushing so that there's no place left for the animals. And the few remaining are left in these tiny isolated little pockets. So the gene pool is getting smaller and smaller, which, you get inbreeding, and that doesn't work really well.
Right, no, that's not good. And then this happens over a period of time, and people don't see it until that impact, like probably now.
It happens in some places really fast. The population in some parts of Africa, in Kenya alone, the population, excuse me, the population is growing by 9% a year. And Kenya is a relatively dry country, so there are more people than there is land to feed them with or water. So they're starting to encroach into these vast national parks, where the last reserves, the last place where the animals were.
Wow. Now that's definitely a call to concern, because unfortunately with technology, humans might prevail. But when I see the History Channels and all those shows, you're talking about those water holes where they come up once in a while and they all kind of gather, like the animals, and
yeah.
Is that kind of similar?
Africa is a huge continent.
Yes.
That has many, many different kinds of environments.
Okay.
Some are very wet, some are very dry.
Because I always picture Africa as just a dry land, but maybe that's what they kind of, that's why I'm here, to learn more about some of that region. But it's amazing what a huge country that is, and the job that you're out there. I mean, that takes a lot of guts, honestly. A lot of passion, of love.
Yeah, I don't know. It's people say, "Oh, you go to all these countries, aren't you afraid?" No, actually, I'm probably safer there than I am on the streets of Stockton sometimes.
Right. Don't go past that way. I didn't want to name a street.
I have been in situations in Africa where, out doing safaris. You're in a van, you got a driver, and we've been charged by elephants. Literally charged by an elephant. I was so concerned about getting a good picture, I wasn't really paying attention to the fact the elephant was charging us.
Right.
I'm thinking, this is great.
He's got a great coming right on me.
Yeah. Right. Our driver was pretty shook up. He was, shaking.
Yeah. But you're calm because you had that. Because I got
I'm
this
looking
picture
through the camera lens. I'm looking through the camera lens thinking, this is going to be a great shot. Just come on, get a little closer.
Right. I got this shot.
So, that you're focused on it. And then afterwards you think, wow, that could have been a bad situation.
Yeah, right.
But it wasn't. I mean, I'm still here.
Right,
I'm still here, yeah.
So, those of John's friends and those who are just meeting John here on the show, on his personal site, he definitely has photo albums of all these incredible animals that are just amazing. And I always find myself flipping through his photos, which is awesome, because I always see something new as you scroll through them. One of the ones I want to talk about real quick before we start going to the segment of the people of the land that you visited, and we definitely have some pictures of that to share. But the sea turtle. Well, can you tell us a little bit about that sea turtle? That was amazing just to watch that.
All right,
to see the photos.
I've done 4 projects with sea turtles.
Okay.
2 in Costa Rica, and 1 in Trinidad, and another one in Sri Lanka. The 2 in Costa Rica and Trinidad were involved with the leatherback sea turtle. The leatherback is the largest turtle on the planet. They can get 6 foot long, weigh more than 1,000 pounds. They're highly endangered. Part of the problem is they get caught in nets for fishing. They cannot be captive. There's no way you can put them in an aquarium. That just doesn't work. They have to swim and they have to dive, and they dive incredibly deep. They try to record one time how deep these turtles can dive, so they attached sensors to one. And the turtle dived so deep that the sensor imploded.
That's it. No.
Yeah.
Wow.
So they know that it went down further than 3,500 feet.
So that's a whole other mystery, going from land to the sea. I mean, that's a whole other depth. I didn't even think of that.
Well, this is a turtle that comes ashore. The females come up on the beach when they're about 23 years old. And they lay their eggs and they leave. And the eggs hatch. And these little turtles, they're about the size of a Ritz cracker.
Little tiny things, little tiny
Yeah,
turtles.
they're like little hors d'oeuvres for the birds and the other fish and so on. But they erupt out of the nest, like 80 of them at a time, and they run down to the water, and they go in the water, and that's it. The males never come back. The males never touch land again.
Oh, they're just all the time. Well, I never knew that. That's interesting.
And the females will not come back until they're in their 20s and they're ready to lay eggs. So this is a turtle that lives exclusively in very deep water. The ones in Costa Rica, they've tracked head to the Galapagos. The ones in Trinidad will go up, will follow the Gulf Stream. They will go up through New England, around New England, across the Atlantic, down the East Coast, down to Africa, and then back over again. So they will make an entire loop around the Atlantic. They have found turtles that hatched in Florida. They found them in the Mediterranean.
That's a distance.
It is.
That's holding your breath a long time.
Well, these are incredible. These are
Right.
incredible animals. They
So
are.
so how do they hold their breath? I mean, are they like
They
they
can.
don't have gills? I mean,
No, they're
right.
air breathing, but
Air breathing.
they can dive, like I said, more than 3,500 feet, and they can stay under for 20 minutes, a half an hour. I mean, they just have. There's some things about the leatherbacks that the physiology is incredible. One of the things is sometimes we would find leatherbacks who would come up on the beach to lay eggs, and they're missing a flipper. Their back flipper is gone because the shark has taken it off.
Ouch. Yeah.
But they have survived because they have this factor in their blood, this incredible clotting factor, that they clot right away. They don't bleed to death. So I've seen the leatherback female come up and try to dig her nest with one flipper.
Just keep going, instincts. Huh? I gotta get.
Yeah, they just keep going, and then the little stub is going. So what we'll do is we lay down on the ground behind her, and then she'll dig, and then I dig, and then she digs, and then I dig.
Oh my gosh, that would
So I'm
just be
kinda helping
amazing.
her.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, right there. So for people people that want to travel and be a part of Earthwatch, they can do stuff like that.
You can sign up, do a project. Anybody can do a project.
Anybody, I mean, I can't even. I'm speechless that you can be so close to a wild animal, so to say, but they're not wild in their environment, and you get to be a part of that. That's
Yes.
that's
You
definitely.
get to join scientists that really know what they're doing and participate in their research. Sometimes, you're just taking notes. You might be doing data entry but I mean, I've done things like hand-caught crocodiles.
Right, yeah.
Gone up and down the Okavango River or the Zambezi River at night, and you got a spotlight, and you're shooting it along the bank, and when the eyes light up, you go in there, and there's a crocodile, and you reach out and grab it.
Dang, faster.
Because-
You gotta grab them faster than they can grab you, I guess.
Yes.
It's like, so, real quick, I know we went from land to sea, but we'll go back to land real quick, only because we're also here to talk about your camera work, and earlier you showed me some footprints of the animals. Did we have some of those pictures available? You told me like and then we'll go into the people.
Okay, well, I have an album.
Okay.
I don't know how we're going to present this.
Let's see. Oh, there we go.
Let's see if the camera picks.
Oh yeah, the people can see that. There we go. So this picture here.
This was shot. I was doing a project in Botswana,
Mm-hmm.
which is a really, really great country. If you want to go to Africa and you really want to see animals, Botswana.
Botswana.
Yeah. We were doing a wildlife survey in a private reserve.
Uh-huh.
And the guy who was our guide was this young guy who grew up in the bush, had no fear of anything. So we were tracking lions on foot, barefoot.
That's right.
And when we came back to the vehicle, there was this footprint. It was one of our footprints, and in the middle of that footprint was a lion footprint.
Who's tracking who?
So the lion was tracking us.
Right. That would have been really funny if he had a camera. The lion, I'm kidding.
If you'd have caught us, we would have had a camera.
Right. All right, so we got. There's two of them. Cool. We got
This is a kudu.
a kudu.
Female kudu.
So I guess that would be like the deer family as over here. What maybe people are used to, or is it?
Well, it's an antelope. The
antelope.
difference is the deer lose their horns and antelope don't.
Okay.
So kudu, the male kudu are the ones that have these huge spiraling horns.
Oh, that's on the picture of the Facebook that Yeah, is that one he was eating, and then there's those curly horns.
The horns go like.
Yeah, I had to take a picture. I mean, put the picture on the Facebook of that one. That was really neat. Okay, and
the other one is.
So I thought I remember talking to you at a party one time that hippos are really kind of mean. You might want to stay away from them, or they're really easy to agitate.
They're very territorial.
Territorial.
They're very ill-tempered. They fight with each other. There have actually been hippos that have got into a fight and locked their mouths together, and both of them died.
Oh man! All right, I was like,
because they wouldn't give up.
Stubbornness, I call that.
They have an ability. If you approach them and they're in a pool, they will both defecate and urinate at the same time and spin their tail, so it actually looks like they're propelling themselves, but they're just basically making a huge mess.
Right, that's everywhere.
And very bad tempered. A lot of people get killed in Africa by hippos.
Yeah, that's one of the things I remember hearing stuff that if you're ever there, just stay pretty far away from them. They're, like you said, they're territorial. But my impressions were they're I forgot what I said earlier, but they're not very nice.
No, they're not.
Right. I lost my words there. Sorry, folks. Oh, look at that elephant.
That's an elephant.
That is amazing. Oh my gosh. Yep.
The little girl here is in Cambodia.
Cambodia.
Yeah, she was begging for money. She's in a pan, in a big old tin pan out in the middle of this lake.
Wow.
Begging for money. Okay, here we have. I don't know how shot we're getting.
It's looking pretty good. It's still centered. All right.
Lion. Leopard. Leopards are very hard to find. Leopards.
Leopards.
When I go to these safari parks, they say, "Well, what do you want to see?" I say, "I want to see a leopard." They say, "Nah, you'll never see a leopard."
And then, not unless you got the camera.
Right. Yeah, occasionally.
So they blend in. Like, is that why you don't see them, or they're just kind of like you said? They got the memory of the humans, so they're kind of.
They're very shy. Well, one of the largest leopard populations in the world is in Mumbai, India.
Mumbai.
Mumbai is a huge city. That's like 25 million people or something.
Oh yeah.
And there's a large population of leopards that live in the city.
And they live kind of hand by hand, don't they? Or is that pictures from my past memories? I've seen things on TV and stuff. Some of the lions, they do kind of live in the streets often here and there?
Well, the leopards are nocturnal.
Okay.
They're very adaptable. They'll take a dog, a cat, they'll take chickens, they'll take pigs, they'll take goats, whatever. In Nairobi, Kenya, the leopards go into the garbage cans, kind of like our raccoons.
Yeah.
So they're very adaptable. And they're there. I mean, you got a city of 25 million people, and you have this large leopard population, and there's nobody knows it. I mean, a lot of people in Mumbai don't know there are leopards in the city because they never see them.
All right. It's like watch out at night.
But there was a thing on National Geographic where maybe Nature, one of those programs, where they actually set up some night vision cameras in Mumbai to see if they could get some pictures of the leopards, and they actually did.
Wow. To see what the pattern is, right, at nighttime, and just kind of
walking through the village. You got a leopard up on a wall walking along, and then there's guys down on the street under a street light playing soccer.
No, they probably don't even know the cat's there.
They don't know the cat's there.
That's amazing. A lot different than our town. Our cats are tiny. Here we go.
Chimpanzees. Nasty animals.
Chimpanzees. I'm just looking at the video here and stuff. Wow. They definitely have a hierarchy in their system, right? And then they're kind of really protective, from what I understand. They have a system, like they have an actual system in there.
Yeah, they do.
Like an order or something. Or?
And there's always chimpanzees fighting to see who's going to move up the scale, who's going to get to mate, who's not going to get to mate. And there's always some kind of a fight going on among the chimpanzees.
Wow, that's when we need some Charleston Heston.
There's a project. There is an Earthwatch project involving chimpanzees in Uganda, and one of the things, there were two groups of chimpanzees that we were following regularly. In one of the groups, there was a chimpanzee there who was kind of the outcast of the group, and when he would get picked on, he would run down and hide behind one of the rangers.
For protection.
For protection.
Right? That's amazing. All right. As we travel through the animals, the people, of course, are, a lot different than our country, of course. The people are more intertwined with the nature and stuff. So as we see a lot of these different pictures of people around the world, oh my gosh, it's just a whole other life.
I'm trying to find you some more animal photos, but I think that may be all of them for this.
No, that's okay. That was wonderful, and we'll get into the people of the land that you've been around, and so as you take your camera around and you have your equipment, and we'll get into that soon, but animals and people, you're saying a little bit different, but you do like to capture the nature side of both sides. So now as you go around seeing these amazing people in their own lives, how does it make you feel? Because they don't get to experience America, but you get to experience both sides, even though they might not know any different, but they're still happy. You know how that old saying is. But I guess what I'm trying to get to, spit it out, Dave. What's right? Dave? I'm trying to make this segment work really good, right? Say it.
Say what's on your mind.
Right, yeah. But how it's got to be fascinating to meet all these other humans on our planet that just have a gift, and everybody has a gift.
We're not that different.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I find that, generally speaking, there's two things that really unite us. And you can go anywhere in the world. People are interested in music and food.
Ah, yes.
If you're a musician, you can take your instrument or whatever, and you can travel anywhere in the world. And you can sit down. If you start playing, you'll get a group of people that'll come and want to listen to you, and you'll get other musicians that'll start to come out with their instruments and want to join you. And you build a bond, a brotherhood right there.
Yes.
The other one is people would love to have you come and share their food with them. They want to show you what they cook and what they eat, and they want to. And, this is a social thing, to sitting down to eat. In this country, people sit down and eat and watch TV, and there's no conversation. When they're done, they get up. In most other countries, meals take hours.
Hours. Really enjoying the company and really.
Yeah, you eat a little and you talk, and you eat a little and you talk. So it's a whole thing where the whole family comes together, and it's a social thing. They say that if you go to Thailand, somebody will say to you, they don't say to you, "How are you?" They say, "Have you eaten yet?"
Wow, that's some caring concern first. Is your belly full?
Yeah, but I mean that's how you socialize in Thailand. You sit down and eat. Mm-hmm. And you share food.
And it's some good stuff because I love world food, and there's no recipes on that. You got cultures of generations handed down, and it's just like a once in a lifetime. You're only going to taste that over there, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And food and music. For me as a musician, playing world music, that was also my way of trying to figure out our human life on planet Earth. That is one of the main things, that we're all universally united, music and food, and those are the two best things almost on planet Earth that we can enjoy.
If you took your instrument and you went to Africa, you could go to any village in Africa. They may not speak your language. You may be the palest person in the village. The kids will come out and grab your hand and see if it wipes off.
Wow, amazing.
But if you start to play, there'll be people in that village that come out with their instruments, and you'll sit down and you can jam together and you can play together and you can share this experience, and you have a good time, and you'll have friends there for the rest of your life.
Wow.
You may not understand their language, but they do understand the music.
The music, and that's universal.
It's universal, yes.
And that's what's amazing. Man, that's awesome. And that's how I got to meet you, through music. And it's a wonderful thing that we can always share our experiences and stuff. And so, with the people in villages, this picture here, what do we have? Another picture of this? It's like a young adult or a teenage?
This is in Burma.
Uh-huh.
In an area called Inle Lake. And if you leave the lake and you go up the river, there's a village up at the end of the river. We were going up the river because they were going to show us a Buddhist temple. And I'd had enough. I didn't want to see any more temples. I said, if you can show me a Buddha standing on his head, I'll go see it.
Right.
Because everywhere in Burma, every place you go, there's a temple to see. Mm-hmm. So there was a market going on, and I was walking around with my camera, and I just caught this girl sitting there at the market. She wasn't really aware that I was taking her picture, but she was just indescribably beautiful. She's got this innocence about her.
Yeah. I like that how you capture her. She wasn't really looking directly in your camera, like you said. Just capturing the naturalist.
She was looking at something else, basically, so I just caught her. This is also in Burma. This is a guy on the streets of the capital of Rangoon.
Wow. And real quick, I just wanted to share with my audience, depending on your age, there's a typewriter, When I started off doing practice writing, typewriters were awesome. Now you don't get to see those anymore. So sorry.
Well, what so he is he's on the street.
Uh-huh.
He's on the sidewalk in front of his store, and he types letters for people.
Wow.
If you need to have a document done or a letter written or whatever, you come as a little stool there and you sit down and you dictate and he will type a letter for you. That's how he earns his living.
Wow, that's really neat. Yeah, we don't have that too much here, but...
Well, we used to. These things have changed. And we go from Burma, we go to Uganda.
Uganda.
Lovely young girl. We were stopping in a park, and there's a little gift shop, visitor center, snack bar there, and she ran it. She was the only one there. Her name is Suki.
Suki. Wow.
Beautiful, beautiful girl. I had to get a picture of her.
Nice.
She's just got this expression.
So some of these people, do they speak broken English, or what's the majority?
The official language in Uganda is English.
Is English.
So most people will speak English, but there are. The thing about Africa is it's amazing is that people speak 7 or 8 languages because there's so many different tribes.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
There's Swahili and there's Banda, and what else is there? In different locations throughout Uganda, there's tribal languages, so people learn to speak these languages, and you'll be amazed to find that they can speak 5 languages from these different areas.
Oh, interesting. You probably wouldn't go too far if you didn't know kind of your surrounding languages and stuff.
But they do speak English, and she did speak English.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's cool.
It's taught in all the schools. This is interesting picture. Funny story. We were doing the research with the chimpanzees, so we went to a village, very, very small village, to find out how the chimpanzees were affecting the local farmers, whether they were coming in and raiding their crops. So we talked to some of the farmers, and when we were finished, we were walking back through the village, getting back to our van, and there was a bar where they served beer.
Okay, yeah.
And this guy was kind of hanging out with his buddies at the bar, and he came up to me on the street, and he said, "Take my picture." So I did. I took a couple of shots of him real quick, click, click. And then he held out his hand and he said, 200.
200 American dollars?
No,
or
shillings.
Shillings, okay.
And I said, well, I'm sorry, I usually get more than that, but if that's all you have, I'll take it. And of course he got very mad, and he started yelling at me in the tribal language. And the guy that was with us, what we call a PI, he's the principal investigator, the scientist, and told him to knock it off.
It was kind of a bait and switch almost there.
Well, yeah. Take my picture and then pay me for it. Right. So when I got this was shot on film, so I had to wait until I returned to California to develop the film. And when, of course, I look at it, I thought, man, this is a really great picture. This guy is standing on the street. Mm-hmm. He's not in the studio. He's just standing on the street. There's a village behind him.
Wow, you wouldn't even know. I mean, that's
depth of field.
Yeah.
So I like the picture so much that I did a small photo, a 3x5, for him. And I sent it back to one of the guides that was with us on the project who lived in the same village, and sent the picture back to him with a bill.
With the bill.
I mean that I never got the 200 shillings.
Yeah.
But it's a great picture. I mean, this guy has got real character in his face.
That's amazing with a camera. The one moment forever. I mean, those are those magic moments of taking that shot, and then all the stories that goes with it. I mean, you can see all his hat, the way it just kind of moves over a little bit, the way the design, and just you can just look right into his eyes. The pictures.
Right, you could put this guy in a movie.
Right. Smiles. That's always good.
This is a little girl from a school in Botswana. I call the title of the picture is "The Next President of Botswana."
Wow.
Because she could be. She's got. You see the intelligence in her face right there.
Confidence. I see confidence.
Yes.
Like just very. She's ready.
She's about 6 years old, 5, 6 years old, tiny little girl, but just this wonderful, wonderful face. And I would like to think that she's going to continue in school, she's going to get an education, and she's going to grow up and be somebody. I would certainly hope so.
Oh, neat.
Beautiful little girl.
And so some of these villages, do you repeat some of the villages when you go back out, or is it sometimes just a one chance? And
It's one time.
and sometimes you might keep in contact with one or two, or
Yeah, I meet different people. I have some friends on Facebook from Africa. A couple of years ago, I did a project. It was a month-long project with studying photography. Basically, what we did is we went out with a guide twice a day and took pictures of animals.
Wow.
And we had a professional photographer with us. So there were a lot of people involved in this project. There were people from all over the world that came there for different things. Some were doing work with children, some were doing studies of animals. There were 7 of us who were doing the photography project.
Mm-hmm.
And out of that, I met some people who are guides. You know, to be a safari guide in Africa, you have to go through a huge training program and multiple tests, and you have to know. I mean, these guys drive a vehicle over some of the worst roads in the world and can spot a zebra 500 meters away under a tree. Can see a bird in a tree and tell you its English name and its Latin name, and pretty much everything it is about the bird, even a tiny little bitty yellow bird you can hardly see. So these guys are incredible. So I've made friends with a lot of them, and we're still Facebook friends, you know.
Yeah.
We still kind of communicate via Facebook.
Well, that's a good thing. That's one of the good technologies that came from us is be able to connect to the world like that, and definitely appreciate that stuff.
Oh yeah, my friend list on Facebook has people from Italy, Germany, Hong Kong, Vietnam, all over, every place you go.
It makes that world community just a little bit smaller. We can still talk to each other.
Yeah,
That's
I can still
wonderful.
find out what's going on in their lives.
Yeah, that's all.
This is an interesting picture.
Uh-huh.
In Zimbabwe was an incredible country. It was the breadbasket of Africa. It was producing more food than they could eat, so they were selling it. There were factories. Zimbabwe used to manufacture shoes. Mm-hmm. They sold all over Africa. And then there was this tremendous civil war, because Zimbabwe had been, it was called Rhodesia. And it was
I remember that name. Rhodesia.
Yeah, it was a British colony.
Oh, okay.
And then there was a tremendous civil war, and the locals won, and they drove out, the British gave it up, and a rebel leader named Mugabe took over the country.
Mm-hmm.
And he announced that it was going to be a multicultural country. They were not going to drive the whites out. They were all going to work together. Well, a few years ago, maybe 10 years ago or so, Mugabe, he's now in his 90s, he was in his late 70s, 80s,
Mm-hmm.
decided that to pay off these generals that were working, that helped him win the revolution, that he was going to give them the land that the white farmers had, because the white farmers were not distributing the land. They were still
Not equally, I suppose, for the area. Or?
well. The majority of the land was still in the hands of these big white farms.
Mm-hmm.
So he went in and basically told these guys, "You have 24 hours to get off your property and get out of the country," and then gave the land to his generals. And then he instituted a reform of the currency. So he would inflate the currency. If you were a dealer that sold Mercedes-Benz, he would tell you you could not raise the price of the Mercedes-Benz, but then he would inflate the currency so that a $1,000 Zimbabwe note was worth 20 cents. But the Mercedes was still so many thousands of dollars.
Yeah. That's a lot of, excuse me, that's a lot of overtime.
Yeah, so he basically, he drove the country into bankruptcy, and people had no food.
Oh, man.
I came back from Zimbabwe. I have a $50 trillion note.
That you owe?
I
Or-
bought it. I bought a
Okay.
stack of money, and there
Yeah.
was a $50 trillion note
50
in there.
trillion. How many can you say that? I got 50 trillion notes.
Oh yeah, you know, you
Right.
can hand here. I'm coming back handing $1 million notes to my friends, saying, "Here, you're now a millionaire."
You're a millionaire, right? It's cool.
So he drove the country basically into bankruptcy. Well, we were in, I guess it's the second largest city. We were just outside on the private reserve, and the city was named Guaro. While we were there, the water plant went down. There was no water. So the kids who were going to school, if they came from property that had a well, they had to bring water with them. And part of the thing that we were doing is every Saturday we went to the local orphanage. We would stop in town, buy huge amounts of food, fruits and vegetables and rice and things like that. Then we would take it to the orphanage and spend time playing with the kids. So here, this is an orphan. He's got a piece of apple, which is a big treat. I mean, it's fresh fruit.
Yeah. Not only is good, somebody gave him something.
Yeah.
I mean, that's more powerful that he got something not expecting, and you're helping out in that manner.
And we were there playing with him.
Right.
You know, we were carrying them around, and we were playing games with them, and I was taking pictures, and they loved it. You know, when I would when I was shooting film, you know, they'd all, because everybody now knows about digital cameras.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'd take a picture, and they'd run up, and they say, let me see, and I say, no, it's inside, it's inside. But anyway, this was shot on black and white film. Beautiful shot of this kid with a chain link fence behind him.
That is. Those shots are amazing. Gosh, look at these. All your camera work is just amazing. I mean,
This is from China.
Oh wow.
There's a little shop boy who stepped outside the shop door to have lunch.
This is everyday life, and just capturing that stuff. I mean, just the wood work and the way the building is designed, and then, yeah, like you said, he's just eating his lunch.
There's a little moment of truth.
There we go, everyday life.
Yeah.
And so, you know, as you meet these people and take pictures of the animals and the people and stuff, is there a certain type of equipment that you've gotten used to that you really like, or is there a process of getting through certain cameras? Like for me, when I play guitar, it takes a few guitars. Like I'll find a guitar and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this feels so right, and another guitar won't feel so good. But does that work in the camera department of like, you know, technology? Of course, one might have different functions, but I mean, is there a feel like, I mean, like an organic energy from you to the camera to the people or animals and then back?
Well, I have cameras I like, and I have lenses that I like. It doesn't. You don't need to have expensive camera gear because the best shot is here.
Right there in yourself.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if you have a good eye and good light, you can take good pictures. It doesn't. You don't have to have, you know, $10,000 worth of camera gear. I mean, I've seen people go out and buy really expensive cameras and very, very good lenses, and then they take pictures of their dinner.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I can see that happening, right? I was like, where did that camera could take pictures from Arco Arena or something?
Right. And then I've seen people who show up and they bought their first digital camera. It's a little point and shoot kind of thing, and they've never used a digital camera before. And then all of a sudden, you look at their pictures and they're going, "Man, these are great."
Just natural on. Just
yeah,
natural
I wish
life.
I'd seen that. But it's what you see, and how you do it. You know. Digital cameras, I will show you. I'm going to disappear here for a minute.
That's all right. Here we're here at the KXVS.org on the Yellow Dot Spotlight Show with John and Dave hanging out. Oh, wow. Look at that. Oh, man, that's awesome. Let's see if we can get a camera on that. Let's see. We could always use this one. I don't need the pictures. I like the pictures. Let's see. What's happening with this camera? Let's see if we can move this right here. There we go. Move that a little closer there. All right. So this camera here.
This is a very expensive camera. It's $3,200 camera body and a $2,500 lens.
Yeah, that's an expensive hobby.
It is an expensive hobby,
but it's worth it because your pictures are always amazing. It's beautiful, definitely.
If you're going to go and do wildlife photography, you need a long lens. This is a 200 millimeter lens. It's not that particularly long, but it's a nice lens.
And so is it so far out you get, excuse me, but better pixels, or the kind of cameras you're using? Is it, because you said digital, but it has certain ranges, I would assuming to approach animals at a certain distance or get those right pull in?
Well, this is like a telescope.
Uh-huh. Oh, wow.
So, if you have you got an
There we
elephant that's on the other side of the savannah or whatever, you can get a close-up shot, or a closer shot of them by going to 200 millimeter. It's actually a zoom lens. It goes anywhere between 70 millimeters and 200.
Well, and the millimeters is compared to feet?
Yeah, and basically you're talking about focal length.
Okay.
I'm not going to go into all of the technical
Yeah, that's
parts.
okay. No, we'll just dabble on it. We have another show about that, too.
Okay. Digital cameras are absolutely amazing. I mean, the things that you can do with them. You can shoot a fairly good picture in no light. You can go into a dark room and take a good picture with a camera. If you can see it and you can manually focus it, you can get a good picture, because you can change the sensitivity of this camera, what they used to call ASA with film. ASA was the speed of the film. The faster the speed, the less light you needed.
Okay.
But you can change the ISO on this up to like 8,000 or 12,000, which means that you can take a picture in a dark room. Now, they used to say if you have the ISO set really high, you're going to get a lot of noise, which means like grain.
Okay.
But the cameras are getting so good now that you don't.
It's just pure picture and stuff.
Yeah. So these are pretty amazing cameras. And then what you're doing is you're taking this digital information, you're putting it on the computer, and then you can do whatever you want with it. I mean, you can create all kinds of amazing images off the computer. My question is that really photography, if you digitally manipulate things?
Yeah, there's definitely two techniques. I do notice the ones that do that, and it's nice that some things can be kind of touched up and amplified, but I do like just the rawness of capturing something in its real moment. That's definitely, I would think, more of a challenge. And when me and my wife Dora takes pictures for fun, just in general, we know we got to take at least 20 to maybe get 2 special ones or something like that.
I will shoot 700 to 1,000 a day.
Well, triple thousand, right? That's triple
But
the
then,
amount. But it's worth it though, because you.
Oh yeah, I mean, you can't do that with film, but you can certainly do that with digital.
Yeah, and then like you said, I mean, that one moment. I mean, that's just, if you capture that one, that's just forever, and it's nice to look back on it and share stories of. It depends where you're at to capture that film.
Well, I got to tell you,
photo.
I have to explain something to you.
Uh-huh.
Digital pictures are not forever.
Oh,
They're not archivable.
they're not archivable. Oh, and what might that be? This is definitely new for me.
Where do you have when you take a picture, where is it? What, you keep it on the camera or on your phone?
Oh shoot! Well, on my phone, yeah, pretty much, and then.
Technology is changing. Ask the people who stored all their pictures on floppy disk.
Mm-hmm. At least that's like tangible, right? I mean, the old way is tangible. You could feel it and touch it.
That phone,
Store it.
That phone is going to become obsolete in 2 years, a year, and you're going to want another phone.
This phone right here. I'm kidding. My phone is obsolete. Actually, this is my work phone. I tend to drop it a lot. So, right.
Even the pictures that I take with this,
Mm-hmm.
they're stored on these SC cards.
Okay.
The technology is changing so fast. In 20 years, what are we going to be looking at? How are we going to be storing information on the computer? Is it going to be CDs?
Mm-hmm.
Is it going to be flash drives? Is it going to be the SC cards? Or is it going to be something totally different? In 50 years, where are these pictures going to be? So if you're a young couple with a kid and you're taking baby pictures, when that kid grows up and he's 25, 30 years old and you want to show him the baby pictures, how are you going to access them?
Good idea. A lot of that stuff is stored, and as technology surpasses, how are you going to access it? Just like, real quick, 8 tracks to try to compare and a difference. Similar, people might have 8 tracks, but once they go out of
Try to find a cassette player.
right, try to find a cassette player, or even more modern cassette players. It's really hard to find. You can't have those. And I've got boxes of cassettes that are just sitting in my garage that I've collected, and I can definitely see the analogy of the pictures and digitals. They're good for now of our generations, but as technology moves, how are we going to store that? Me being lucky to catch both worlds, pre-major technology and before, I'm still old-fashioned to where I like tangible things. I still need a picture, and I love putting them in a photo, or I can touch it and it's right there, you know. So sometimes, God, that's a good thought, going back to a camera that you can actually develop film and have it tangible.
If you're going to use a digital camera, the only way you're going to be able to archive your pictures is to have them printed.
Printed.
Now, even then, because the technology is so new, we don't know how long that ink is going to last on those pictures.
Wow. So
Now, if we look at, this is a silver gelatin print. This is printed on paper that's been treated,
mm-hmm.
and it's been exposed to light, and then dipped into a chemical bath until the image appears, and then it's fixed, and then it's washed and everything. In the same way that pictures were made 150 years ago. And you can go back and look at pictures that were taken 150 years ago. When photography started in the 1830s, we can still look at some of those images. They're a little
Right.
faded,
Uh-huh.
but then there's a tremendous amount of photography was done during the Civil War, which we still have access to.
So that says something for back then. Like, if technology is okay, don't erase it for sure. Try to maybe implement it for our future, to, because that is true. All those Civil War pictures, or all those pictures from the 1800s and 1700s. So that's where we're going on 150 years or more, and those pictures are still
They've
around. Survived. So I know this could be a whole different show when we talk about cameras, but dipping into a solution that really helps preserve the pictures, as you were talking.
Well, that's the developing process.
The developing process.
You know, if you develop your film properly, the negatives will last forever if you store them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I store mine in nice little plastic sleeves in a binder. Then I can print those pictures again and again and again, and the negatives will always stay pretty much the same. They're not going to fade because, you know, they're kept protected.
Yeah.
And I can print pictures years to come. I mean, we're still printing pictures that Ansel Adams shot because somebody still has his negatives.
Wow, so they just keep archiving from it, and it's still like he took them that day, or pretty close to that day. I mean, it
Well,
preserves
Ansel did a little darkroom work himself. But
Uh-huh.
So, like I said, digital pictures are not archivable unless you print them, and then even then, you don't really know how long they're going to last.
Wow, you hear that, Dora? All those pictures we've been taking, we got to find a way to save them, especially the
Yeah.
kids. You know, I know a lot of the families, like you're saying, the basic photographer, the family and the kids, you know, they might want to preserve that. Like you said, when the kid gets older, he's going to want his pictures, and then the parents are going to go, I don't know, it's in this phone, try to access it,
Yeah.
you know, right?
Here, it's on the floppy disk we have here, and the kid's going to say, floppy, what the hell's a floppy
right, what's
disk?
a floppy disk? It's a Commodore 64. You might have to find,
Yeah.
or something like that, right?
Yeah, right, you know.
Right,
It's like, you know, it's like LPs. Are we running out of time?
No, we're getting close. Let's see.
Okay.
We're almost there. Just checking. All right. So you
While
have
you're
about
doing
about.
that, I'm going to disappear for a minute.
All right, no worries. And here we are at KXVS.org on our Friday Spotlight shows, the Yellow Dot Spotlight and the Spotlight on the Arts series. Every Friday from 12 noon to 1 o'clock, featuring all local artists in our community here in Stockton.
So we talked about digital pictures
Uh-huh.
that are not archivable. So this is my other camera.
Okay.
So when I travel, I take two cameras. I take the big one with the big lens, and I take this. This is black and white film. Simple camera, inexpensive camera. It's a nice camera. Pentax makes a really great camera, and it takes really good pictures.
Interesting. So the black and white, when it takes some black and white, you start working the shadows. Is that what you might start looking for, or as you're looking through the camera, or because you do know it's black and white when you take it?
Yeah.
But what?
You got to kind of think in black and white too.
Yeah. So that's the first thing that entered my mind when you said that. Gosh, you could play with, since, you know, if you're used to a lot of pictures, you kind of tend to know where shadows might be, or you might have to move a different angle, or something like that.
Well, one of the most important things in photography is light.
Light.
It's the right light.
Okay.
If you have a good eye and good light, then you can take a good picture. So you got to be aware of the light, whether you're using digital camera or film camera. You have to really be aware of what the light is.
All right. So maybe in the daytime, is it Better to have your back against the light or with the light? Of course, depends on the situation, but what is maybe a rule of thumb to start with?
Don't take pictures at noon.
Don't take pictures at noon, right?
The best light, the golden hours are like just an hour after sunrise or an hour before sunset.
Oh, I love definitely
When you have
sunrise is a beautiful time in the morning.
When you have flat light, when the light is coming at you at
Interesting, flat light compared to what would be the other word? I mean, flat light as in
well,
indirect,
the light that's
direct.
overhead, it's hot. There's no blending, and you get these sunset pictures. You know, just as the sun is going down, and just as before it starts to disappear behind the horizon, you get this beautiful golden yellow kind of thing that makes everything, all your images kind of glow. It's a really, really nice light.
Oh, interesting. No, that's a good trick to know, that the certain times really help affect what's going to happen. I can imagine noon, since it's really, really bright, sometimes the pictures might get like the white out or kind of not as colorful. Flat. Just no color, no. Yeah, it's interesting.
So you do want to be aware of shadow. You want to be aware of, you don't want just flat light over everything, because it just flattens everything out. Shadows are important too.
Yeah. Oh, neat. It's it really hits me now why there's so many beautiful sunset pictures all around the world, and you see a lot of those prominent, how the sun really helps out, and then depending on the sunset, you see all, like you said, golden colors or the oranges and the reds, or depends what, I guess maybe the prism really starts coming out at that time.
I love Africa because of the sky, and you get these beautiful, beautiful sunsets sometimes after a storm, and you get clouds. We don't really see a lot of really nice clouds here. We get these flat blue skies, but sometimes in Africa you get these just tremendously huge clouds. And then the sun going down, I've seen sunsets where you have greens and blues and reds and ambers.
Oh man!
Even black, into the clouds. It's amazing the kind of sunsets that you get, and beautiful, beautiful time to take pictures. You can imagine animals out on a savanna, get a herd of zebra and some giraffes and whatever, and then this gorgeous sunset behind them.
That is amazing. And there's that 1 hour where it's kind of peaceful, like the day's kind of ending, but the colors are coming out.
The golden hours.
The golden hours. That is cool. I can almost see myself, if I get older, go on a world tour of sunsets. I'm going to go to this sunset on this part of the continent for today, and then I think that'd just be amazing to capture, because our Earth is always rotating, obviously, and we'll get all different things, and I can only imagine the different colors of different areas that we could, the sunset tour.
I have some incredible sunsets that I've gotten from, pretty much everywhere in the world.
Oh, that is amazing. The sunset tour and the sunrise tour. That's what would be awesome and stuff. Well, thanks, John. I think we're coming close here to the 1 o'clock hour, and gosh, I appreciate it so much you stopping by. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, in between when we're gigging or just hanging out, and just all the festivals that we ran into each other, and I'm so glad you're on the show and to share your gift, and I thank you for giving the gift back to the world for what you do.
Thank you. I appreciate you asking me. I want to mention one thing, though.
Sure.
All of my pictures are for sale.
Okay.
And all the money that I make from the sale of those pictures is donated to 96 Elephants.
96 Elephants. So how can we approach you? And let's repeat all this for the audience. So all your pictures that people can see are for sale, and it goes to
96 Elephants.
96 Elephants.
Which is to end the poaching of elephants.
Oh, yeah, we need to stop that stuff. Yeah, the poaching. And then how can they get a hold of you?
Sometimes I have photos in the Goodwin Gallery, or they can get a hold of me personally.
Okay, that sounds good. Facebook.
They can look at me on Facebook, or they can go to Tumblr and look at my blog.
Awesome. And everybody out there, check out his pictures. It's just really amazing to actually know somebody who does this. It's amazing, just a world traveler helping the community of the world, and part of our community here, and we're so lucky to have John. All right, we'll catch up soon. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me.
All right on, brother. All right on. So there we go. That was today's show, the Yellow Dot Spotlight Show, every Friday, 12 noon to 1 o'clock. And check out all our shows here on KXVS.org. Wonderful content everywhere up and down the board. And we'll see you soon, and I'll see you on Facebook for other announcements. We definitely have a page up, the Yellow Dot. Oops, excuse me. Let me rewind that. So the Facebook page you can catch us is Spotlight on the Arts at ksvx.org, and you'll be able to catch all the Spotlight shows on that webpage. And also you can catch the Yellow Dot Music on Yellow Dot Music Facebook. Well, thank you, everybody. Hope you have a great weekend. I know it's hot, so stay cool. All right, bye-bye. Oh, wait, there I am on this other mic. So let me go ahead and fade out, and I'll click on out of this show. Do-do-do-do-do. And because it's the perks, I'm going to throw on a little Yellow Dot here music. Let's see. Since it's, let's try this one here. All right. Okay, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.